And Mark, let's move on to our final topic before we make our picks for this week in the NFL. And we're completing the AFC trifecta for this week. Talked about Le'Veon Bell, then talked about Baker Mayfield and the Browns. Now we're taking a look at an AFC team, not a AFC team, A-N, put N on that, AFC East team. The Miami Dolphins, they are 3-0 after the first 3 weeks of the season. They win a marathon 7-hour game against the Titans. They beat the Jets week 2. They beat the Raiders this past week in a good 28-20 game. The question I want to ask you, mainly because the Dolphins are 3-0, the Patriots are 2-1, just lost to the Lions. Both of these teams play this week in New England. Will the Dolphins win the AFC East this year?
I'd be a little surprised if they win it, but I'm not going to be at all surprised if they get to the playoffs. You know, a lot of people have seen this stat now that in the last 11 games, Ryan Tannehill is 10-1 that he's played. You can take it a step further and say since Adam Gase has gotten to Miami, excluding the playoff loss to the Steelers, in regular season games, Ryan Tannehill with Gase is what I said. I might have said that wrong the first time. But with Adam Gase, Ryan Tannehill is 11-5. So that's good enough to get to the playoffs. That's plenty good enough. 2016, they got to the playoffs. You know, they potentially could have been in the playoffs last year, but Ryan Tannehill got hurt immediately and didn't get to play any games. I know that New England is kind of off right now at 1-2, but for sure they're going to be back. Buffalo, I don't know. That game was impressive. I mean, that was an awesome game against the Vikings.
You are all on the Josh Allen bandwagon now, aren't you?
I'm all on the they killed the Vikings bandwagon. It was great.
Even the Josh Allen, hey, I'm going to hurdle a defender. Oh, wait, don't get snapped in half, Allen.
Yeah, I was just like, that was the dumbest thing you've done. And I was amazed that the announcers were like, that was phenomenal. It's like, no, it wasn't. He could have broken it in half. There goes your franchise. And then you got the Jets, who are, you know, really, really good one game, and I don't know what's going on now. But that's a good defense at the very least. But Miami's got a lot of things going. I said in my Miami Dolphins preview video, our prediction video, I believe, that the Miami Dolphins had a sneaky good offseason. People weren't talking about it, but they had a good offseason. Now, in our predictions, I was pretty low on the Dolphins. So, I don't know. What do I know? I was really high on their offseason, but not on their actual record. And they're doing pretty damn well. So, they're going to start to kind of fall off. Because, I mean, look at it. I mean, they played the Titans, who are a good team. But they played the Jets. And like I said, the Jets are kind of hot and not at the same time. And they played the Raiders, which isn't really that big of a deal. Now they got to play the Patriots at Foxborough. That's difficult. They're going to play the Bengals, who are a good team. They're going to play the Bears, who are, we don't really know what to make of them team. At least that defense is really good. So they have some tough matchups coming soon. This 3-0 is fantastic, and I'm not going to take that away from the Dolphins. But these next 3 games, I think, are going to tell quite a bit about this team. Playing a really difficult team, playing a team that I would say is close to the same level that you are in the Bengals, and playing a team that's got a really good defense. We're going to learn a lot about the Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to say this next game for the Dolphins, because I'm not ready after 3 weeks to say, yes, for sure, they're going to win the AFCs. Like you said, the Titans, not that great this year. The Jets, they came off a really big week 1 win in Sam Darnold's first start, but like when I think both you and I picked the Jets week 2, all the Dolphin fans were like, oh, no respect for the Dolphins, and then they went out and won, which I was confused. I thought you picked the Jets, or you picked the Dolphins that week, but I guess I was wrong, where we both picked the Jets week 2.
I might have. Who knows?
And then Oakland, where we all know they just need a pass rush. I wonder how John Gruden can find a pass rush for the Oakland Raiders.
Maybe he could trade for one.
Yeah, maybe he could trade for one. I will never let those comments go. This next game, though, this week 4 game, it's a must-win. Like, if you want to win the AFC East, you win this game. And the thing I was looking at was you mentioned the stats with Ryan Tannehill with Adam Gase. The last time these two, Gase and Tannehill, played the Patriots, because Ryan Tannehill with Adam Gase has only played the Patriots one time. Tannehill threw for 387 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 INTs, and the Dolphins lost 31-24. The only asterisk on that game, Tom Brady didn't play. That was the Jimmy Garoppolo game where he threw for 3 touchdowns, no INTs, and he's no longer on this Patriot team. You also had where, yet again, nothing has changed for the Dolphins. The leading rusher for the Dolphins that game, Ryan Tannehill, with 35 yards. Jay Ajayi had 14 right behind him, whereas New England had LeGarrette Blount 123 yards. And that is where I am looking at this game in week 4. Tom Brady's going to be good. It's in Foxborough. If it was in Miami, I may lean towards the Dolphins heavily, because it's like, oh, Tom Brady, when it gets hot, I mean, they went down to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville was able to beat them. However, I know Tom Brady's going to be there. I know Ryan Tannehill is going to be there. They're going to go head-to-head. But the thing I don't know about, the rushing games. Right now, New England's leading rusher is Rex Burkhead with 83 yards on the year.
Yep.
Sony Michel had 50 yards. He was the leading rusher at 50 yards in the loss to Detroit. Whereas you look at Miami, Kenyon Drake, he leads the team with 104 rushing yards. And like I said, nothing has changed for the Dolphins, because if you look at this last week, Ryan Tannehill led the team in rushing with 26 yards. Frank Gore had 12, and Kenyon Drake only had 3 yards on 5 attempts. So to me, yes, if they're going to win the AFC East, you got to win this game. You have to kick the Patriots while they're down, because that is the team you're going up against, because I don't expect the Bills or the Jets to compete with the Patriots for the AFC East crown. Mm-hmm. But if the Dolphins can get an early win before the Patriots get Julian Edelman back after this week, that is just going to bode well for them, because then if they can sneak a win when the Patriots come back to Miami in December, then you got the tiebreaker over Miami or over New England if you end in a tie. My only question for Miami, and this could be a just whole season thing, where's the rushing going to come from? Because so far, Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore have not been consistent answers. Yeah.
It's interesting with this team. I mean, and another interesting thing with Ryan Tannehill is with his combination of Adam Gase and Ryan Tannehill, who's kind of surprisingly old. He's been in the NFL for a while. He's 30 years old now. People kind of just forget about Ryan Tannehill. His only 2 games with Adam Gase where he threw for over 300 yards were in 2016 against back-to-back too.
New England
and the Cleveland Browns. Only 2 games, and the Cleveland one went to overtime. So he got some extra time to do it. It's just kind of interesting to see this, because not a ton is being asked of Ryan Tannehill. He's basically being asked to be smart, make smart decisions, because besides the Tennessee game, no interceptions. He had 2 against Tennessee, so he's at 7-2 right now. He's being smart. The team is being kind of dink and dunk, methodical. That works, kind of, but when you're going to go against other teams that are going to score a lot of points, I wonder how this team is going to do. 27 points against the Tennessee Titans is good. 20 against the Raiders and the Jets. Against the Jets, and 28 against the Oakland Raiders. So they're doing pretty well, but I get nervous about the running game, because it's not like he's going out there and throwing for 400, 500 yards, so they don't need a running game. You're going to need something. You're going to need somebody to step up and be a dominant runner. Kenyon Drake was supposed to be that. That's why they didn't need Jay Ajayi. They could get rid of him because they had somebody else they were confident in.
Well, and I mean, you look at just the Patriot game so far, the Texans, who the Patriots beat 27-10, you had Lamar Miller 98 yards on the ground in that game. In the Jacksonville game was interesting because TJ Yeldon only had 58 yards, which isn't bad. But, I mean, Blake Bortles in that one, over 350 yards in that game, 4 touchdowns, 1 INT. That's basically Blake Bortles saying, hey, Tom Brady, here it is. I wanted to beat you last year, should have beat you last year. I ain't letting you get out of Jacksonville with a W in this one. And then you had the Detroit game where you look at the rushing attack. LeGarrette Blount had 48 yards. Kerryon Johnson, 101 yards on the ground. You got to have a consistent run game, not just in this next game against the Patriots, but all year. Otherwise, teams are just going to say, like, you bring up the Bengals and the Bears, let me just fast forward to that Bear game. It's just like, hey, Khalil, pin the ears back and go after them.
Yeah.
Hey, pin those ears back, go after them, because we don't have to worry about a run game with Miami.
Exactly, and that can easily be the downfall for the Miami Dolphins because I think there's a lot of good things going for them right now. But if you can't start to get a consistent running game going, that's going to be an issue for you later in the season, especially when it starts getting cold. I mean, not that it gets that cold in Miami, but you get my point of when they go and play other teams where they play where it gets cold.
And that's the thing. We've had commenters say, well, you know, Tom Brady doesn't play well went down in Florida where it gets hot. Yeah, but when they play in Miami, it's December 9th. I don't know how scorching hot it's going to be in Miami. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone who lives there is like, Ricky, you're dead wrong. I mean, I don't live in Phoenix, but the only time I was there, it was 110. I was like, thank God I don't live here. But the thing that I will...
You do know Phoenix is not in Florida, right?
No, I know, but it's hot.
Good.
That's what I'm comparing to. Because it's the only time I've been somewhere this summer where it was like really hot.
It basically... It's
like
Miami's winter is like our spring.
Okay. So it's not that bad.
But they wear sweaters because they are cold.
It's like when I went down to Dave and I went down to Tennessee to visit Johnny, and this was January of like 2016. It's like upper 40s, low 50s. Yeah. I'm in shorts.
Yeah, you're busting out the shorts.
Yeah, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. People in Tennessee are in like big puffy winter jackets and like those hats with the like poof on the top.
The little pom-pom.
And it's like, come on, it's not that cold. The thing I was going to bring up, though, is time of possession. And so far, Miami has been kind of even. With the Tennessee-Miami, they were almost split right down the middle, 30-30 for that game. You look at the Jet game, the Jets actually had about a minute, 31 minutes to 28 minutes that Miami had. And then the Raider game, let me pull that one up really quick because I didn't have that one up exactly. You had the Raiders had 38 minutes of possession. The Dolphins only had 21. You want to know how you flip that?
Run the ball.
You run the ball consistently. Yeah. And I mean, I just can't say it enough. Run the damn ball and you'll be fine, because the thing too in this next game, if you don't run the ball, if you get a lot of 3 and outs, it's playing with fire when you're giving Tom Brady more chances to beat you.
But it's not like they're passing the ball 50 times, though. I mean, the most in Tennessee's game,
they're just not
Ryan
getting
Tannehill
anything on the
ball.
ground.
Yeah, he threw the ball 28 times. That's not crazy. Fortunately, I mean, his average, 8 yards, 7 yards, and then 12 against Oakland, and he's been incredibly accurate. Because you need something to go
But even
well.
if you get like a run of no gain, a run of 1 gain, that to me is almost the same as an incomplete pass, because you're not getting those first downs. If you get the first downs running the ball, that's how you tick time off the clock. If you're getting short, all right, we got to punt it away, then you're not going to get time of possession. And Tom Brady's a guy where it's like you give him more chances to beat you, more time than not, he's going to be a guy that goes ahead and beats you. Do you think, I'm not going to give away the pick because we're going to do that next, but just kind of a lasting thing, how do you see this weekend going for the Dolphins? They play the Patriots, and then kind of a final thing of, look into your crystal ball. How does this end? How does this season end up for the 3-0 Miami Dolphins?
Well, I do think that the Dolphins can actually surprise and win against the Patriots. Does it happen? That's a harder thing to say, and I'm not 100% sure that it does happen. But I do think that they could do it because the Patriots are down right now. You can kind of luck out and make it happen.
You just got to kick them while they're down.
The flip side is, Tom Brady's been a little frustrated. And you know who intercepts more balls than anybody? The Miami Dolphins. They are number 1 in interceptions right now. They are doing a fantastic job of taking the ball away from opposing quarterbacks. Now, of course, you played Sam Darnold, who's a rookie. You played Derek Carr on a team that's not that great right now. You got to be careful when you sit there and say that this team has intercepted a lot of quarterbacks, therefore they're going to intercept Tom Brady. You can't just put 1-to-1 because Tom Brady is a whole different caliber of quarterback. But Miami has what it takes to go toe-to-toe and come out and win. If they can be this short, methodical team, I would love to see them have more time in possession. Whether it's because they dink and dunk through the game, through the passing game, or if it's that they finally can start running the ball effectively, that'd be fantastic. But Miami's got what it takes. They need to just kind of put it all together at one time and get that running game going and just kind of be effective. I wonder how it's going to be when they really start to play some of these more talented teams. I think Miami can get to the playoffs. They just got to they can't let teams figure them out and bully them around and say, essentially challenging them and say, yeah, sure, throw the ball on us.
These next 3, maybe 4 games will be the most interesting. New England, Cincinnati, Chicago, maybe even Detroit will be interesting to see how the Dolphins do. The run game is most important to me. You got to get that consistently going. But also, I'm going to say it, this game against the Patriots is a must-win because the Patriots are down, you're up. You basically got to stomp that foot right on the throat and don't let these Patriots get up. You need to win this game. This is a must-win for Miami, but how do you do that? You got to run the ball a lot better than you have been this season. Not going to say they'll win the AFC East. However, like you said, I'm not going to be surprised if they're a playoff team this year based off of what I've seen through 3 weeks, even though the opponents haven't been the most toughest. But this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you think down below in that comment section. Will the Dolphins win the AFC East? Can they upend the Patriots? Let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section.